Hey MJ traders and investors, it's Rod with Power Group. Today is Wednesday, February 10th, and welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth for a cannabis sector review. We're going to get started with the live stream here in just a moment, so just sit tight and we'll get started here in a few seconds. All right, so we're going to get started. So let me bring up the screen share here. So before we jump into today's video, I do want to just do a quick flashback. So this was from the video I did back on January 6th. And again, this isn't financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes only. But the title of the video was Time to Buy Cannabis Stocks and Canadian or US. And this was back on on January 6th. So over a month ago. And I did a video explaining why we should, again, this was what my own personal prerogative, but why I was looking at buying cannabis stocks and why I was focusing on the Canadian side more so as the US side. And I got a lot of people, just commenting saying I was crazy. Why are you buying Canadian and US legalization? And after a day like today and the last couple of days that we've had, it's starting to become hopefully quite evident as to why I was picking the Canadian space over the US space. So before we jump into today's video, we're going to go over some news and events. We'll look at the stock of the day, which is SNDL. So Sundial was up over 80% at one point today, and the mania just continues. So congrats to the bulls. We'll go over the SNDL chart a little bit more in detail. We'll look at the Canadian cannabis space and the US cannabis space as well. So before we jump into the news and events, make sure to hit the like, subscribe. It shows me some support. So CNBC pumping cannabis stocks, saying they're soaring as Reddit crowd that spiked GameStop jumps in, and Tilray spiked over, I think it was over $60 today. We'll bring up that in a minute as well, but it's just astonishing to see the gains. And again, you're not seeing those gains on the US side. We've already seen the majority of the gains that have been realized since March. So we also saw that Cannabis announces the establishment of an at-the-market offering program. The stock was down about 5% at one point, but still holding up very, very well. And the stock doesn't really care too much. The volume has been absolutely insane on Cannabis the last couple of days. It's about 4 or 5 times the average volume. We also saw that Curaleaf celebrates the grand opening of its 100th national retail location. And I'm pretty sure Quebec, the province of Quebec, has less than 100. So that just goes to give you gives you some perspective on a little how slow the Canadian government has been in the rollout. We also saw Fire and Flower announces completion of 15 million at the market equity offering. So lots of raises. Juicy Holdings raises 65 million, selling shares at $10. So we're seeing some dilution there, and not surprising when stocks have run hundreds of percent. So we'll jump into the SNDL chart. So congrats to the bulls first and foremost. We had a huge gap up and just bulls stole the show here today. Closed up 78%, over 78%. But from yesterday's close, we were up over 80%, about 82%. And again, this just goes to prove my point as to why I was focusing on the Canadian side and not the US sector, is because the Canadian side was beaten up. We had mergers and acquisitions likely coming down the pipeline. We have Health Canada restrictions and laws and Cannabis Act reform, hopefully easing the restrictions on a lot of these companies that, advertising and dosages, things like that, being able to purchase more than 5 beverages or 30 grams in one order. So we're starting to see a lot of positivity, and a lot of the reason why these stocks are soaring is because of platforms like Robinhood, who offer free commissions trading, and they have access to cannabis stocks. But guess what cannabis stocks they have access to? It's only the ones listed on major exchanges and Canadian, for the most part, Canadian names. So MSOS, we'll look at that in a second, but it's definitely the Canadian space that's getting all the attention. Tilray up over 50% today. That is just insane. So we'll look at SNDL here. So on the hourly, we need to lose the hourly uptrend to be confident that the daily bounce is finished, and we need to lose the low of the previous day. And based on the size of this candle today, I would most likely anticipate a daily inside bar tomorrow. But we did have huge volume here on the day, close near the high of the day, but short squeeze is in full effect. On the weekly, we are extremely overbought, hitting 84. Just take a look at the monthly. Monthly not even close to overbought yet. And daily RSI sitting at 89. So if you are still in a position, congrats. Absolute monster move here from this daily inside bar. If you entered on that bull break back down at $1, hard to believe that just a couple of days ago, we were just at $1. And like I mentioned it in the group as well, I said a stop below $1 should provide nice support. And we had EMA 12 there as well, which lined up right around $1. And I said that would be an awesome entry with a stop below $1 psychological. And you'd be up 200% in the matter of 3 days. So all about the hourly trend at this point. If we lose the hourly uptrend, then daily consolidation will likely be underway at that point. And 15-minute EMA 12 is going to be very important as well. But no major red flags at this point. Bulls are still in full control. And as long as we maintain this hourly uptrend, we did have a little bit of volume there into the end of the day drop off. So no major red flags. We haven't started consolidation yet on the hourly. So we'll be watching for a potential daily inside bar tomorrow. And we'll take a look at the weekly chart here. So we also had a weekly higher low opportunity a couple of weeks ago to load up. And if you didn't load up on those weekly higher lows for a long-term position, generally entering a long-term position now is not recommended. But again, this isn't financial advice. This is just my own personal opinion. But the MACD and stochastic are still extremely bullish, but the 10-week moving average is all the way down at 88 cents. So just be mindful of that. And as you guys notice, I am doing a little bit of a different format today. I've got the live stream enabled, and we have the super chat enabled as well. So a cool new feature. You can essentially post a super chat, and it'll be at the top of the chat room. You can ask questions. Pretty cool new feature provided by YouTube. So take advantage of that as well. And going to be doing a little bit more live streams here as well for you folks, as we had a lot of people request that. So 295. We're well above the 50 weekly moving average, down at 62. What a move. That is absolutely insane. And again, this is why I said to start looking at cannabis a month ago, and this is why I'm doing a flashback video, is because this is not when you want to start getting interested in cannabis when everybody and their dog is interested. You wanted to get interested back here when we were in pro. That's when you wanted to start scaling in, when everybody hated it. Now everybody loves it. We're looking at US legalization. We've got Canopy earnings. Like, their earnings weren't even that great. And if that would have happened 6 months ago, the stock probably would have dropped over 10% because of their guidance, because they said they wanted to be they were expecting to be profitable next year, in the first half of next year, 2022, and they had a huge EPS miss, but their beat on revenue was a slight beat. But because of the guidance, because of the hype, and Tilray had news as well about importing into UK and medical distribution, so all of this just a perfect storm to send it higher. And again, I said you don't want to be chasing this thing when we start blasting off, because they're going to trap shorts and they're going to trap longs. And that's exactly what happened. If we just go back here to this weekly chart and the daily chart, you can see here there was really no daily high or low. So from 50 cents, we had a couple inside bars that broke bullish, but no really daily consolidation. So how many people were waiting on the sidelines as bulls saying, I want to buy the dip, give me a higher low or a daily pullback? And it just never came. And then shorts are getting squeezed because they keep shorting and they're waiting for a drop and the drop never comes. So we just end up rocketing super hard. We get deals and news and things like that and US legalization, just adding fuel to the fire. And that's exactly what happened. We got away. The move was super hard and fast and it trapped bulls and longs. They were both hoping for a dip that never came and just propelling us higher and higher and higher. So taking a look at the daily chart, daily, we did have a golden cross, which was absolute money. If you entered on that daily high or low, you had the 50-day moving average, you had the 200-day moving average, and you had a golden cross with the 50 crossing through the 200. What better opportunity to enter down at 50 cents could you have asked for? Absolute perfection, and just bounce off that 50 and 200 golden cross up about 400% from that entry. So again, if you're bullish cannabis, you don't want to be entering up here. Maybe you do. Maybe you're okay with it dropping another 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%. But at this point, in my opinion, I'd be waiting for a daily high or low. We have a gap to fill here as well. So gap at 175. So I'll be watching that. So we'll take a look at the rest of the cannabis space here as we wrap up. Tilray up over 50%, huge lower wick. That was one of the names that I mentioned as a potential short target today and paid off extremely well. And again, SPY was weak to start the day and then just slow, steady grind up. And if you look at all the individual stocks or most stocks, they all did the same thing. Pretty much everything followed SPY today. And that's what we were looking out for, right? That's what I said in my video yesterday. I said the direction is likely going to be dictated by SPY. So we'll just bring up SPY real quick. SPY hadn't formed a daily high or low or consolidated or pulled back in about 9 days. And today we broke the low of yesterday. So as soon as we broke the low of yesterday, that was a red flag. And we actually had an early clue that Bitcoin did it first. And then SPY followed, and then a lot of individual tickers followed. So Tilray didn't even break the low of yesterday. And we've got a couple gaps in the chart here. But man, I just can't get over that move. I knew we were going to see explosive moves, but I didn't think we were going to see 300%, especially on a name like Tilray in a matter of days. That is just fantastic. This market is unlike anything else at the moment. So Tilray very strong, no major red flags. OGI up another 37% today, increasing bull volume. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a merger with OGI, maybe Cannabis. Cannabis is in talks with another major, significantly large LP. So OGI, we're seeing a lot of strength in OGI without any real news or fundamentals that I'm aware of. But we're just seeing absolute moonshots here across the board. XLY, that was another stock that I called out, said good buying opportunity back here at EMA 12 and 26 once we bounced off that at the 33-cent mark. Could have set your stop under 28 cents. And from 33 cents, you're up about almost 50%, 45%. So congrats to the bulls. On the bear list, we had NSP, ZENA, PWR, and High Tide. So look, going into tomorrow, there's no major red flags at this point. We did see a bit of a doji there, an indecision candle on CGC, but hourly EMA 12 is going to be crucial for most of these names. You can see they're all holding. So just be watching the hourly uptrends and watching SPY and watching EMA 12 on the hour. That's going to be extremely important. On the bull list in the US side, we had MJNA, MMEN, TAT. TAT was blue sky breakouts today. KBEV, another one of the names that we called out. Been in that one since 5 cents. So up 200% on that one. And extremely happy, still holding. I sold 50% and took some profits. holding the profit. So I put in, I think I had 10,000 share or 20,000 shares. I sold 10,000 at 100% gain and riding the other 10,000, and essentially just a free trade. On the bear list, we had GRWG, High Tide, IIPR. I don't know why High Tide's on there. Shouldn't be on the US side. IIPR, TAUG. So BAM was up to, I think, 93% today, or 93 cents today, and pulled back. But we got resistance at 98 cents and $1. That's going to be extremely important. So let's take a look at MSOS. Very similar to SPY, but the only difference here is we didn't lose the low of yesterday. So SPY started daily consolidation. MSOS since $40 here has just been a rock solid, slow, steady grind up 40% essentially from those lows. And again, if you weren't buying it back here, you've missed the boat now. Unless you're going short or unless you're using a nearby, close by stop. Personally, I think the move is to the downside and you need to be scouting shorts. And one way to do that would be to look for the loss of the hourly uptrend, or as soon as we break the low. So for example, if we broke the low of the day today at 52.25, that's extremely important going into tomorrow. If we lose that low tomorrow, you could short and set your stop over the all-time high, or whichever you're comfortable with if you're willing to allocate a little bit more risk. Or like I said, you can use some other levels, but if you set it above the all-time high, we lose the low of the day tomorrow, you set your stop above that all-time high, and then you look for a potential daily high or low, maybe down around $48, $45. So essentially we're at $55, all-time high is $55.91, so you're risking about 90 cents or $1 to make upwards of, $6 to $10 plus. So you need to determine whether or not we have increasing bull volume here as well. No major red flags. We do have bearish RSI divergence here on the RSI. You can see we're trending lower on the RSI while the price is breaking out. But again, you need to determine what you're going to do. Are you going to be willing to sit through daily consolidation? What's your plan? Make sure you develop one. And just finally starting to get people that are understanding why I recommended Canadian MJ. And just so everybody's aware, I'm not a perma MJ, Canadian MJ bull. It's just the time it made sense, and with everything aligning and laggard sectors that hadn't run were catching up. We had US legalization coming down the pipeline, M&A deals, improving financials. Canada outbeat the black market for sales for the first time ever last month. So all these fundamental catalysts are, obviously playing a huge role. And I'll be slowly starting to scale into US MSOs like Curaleaf and GTII and Trulieve, Cresco, and buying those individual stocks and looking for an uplist hype from the Safe Banking Act. So we could see those uplists soon. So again, going to start looking at the shift over to US MSOs. I'll keep everybody informed when that is. As of right now, I am just starting to dial back the trading and just focus on preserving capital. So make sure you have stop losses set, develop a plan, and we shall see you guys again tomorrow for a daily market recap. Thanks for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth.